Okay, good morning.
Good?
Yeah, we're good.
Hello.
Hey,
So this is Techie to the rescue.
yep. It's
And-
Techie here.
Yep. And ZV.
And it's Evie.
Hello. And me. With the morning
Torture session?
yes, candid tech question of the day.
Right, works.
Okay. So today, which Auburn doesn't know what it's going to be beforehand. Right. The question of the day is about malware.
Great.
Yes. The question is, what is malware in a nutshell?
Oh no.
Okay. How you know you have it,
Oh god.
what you can do to fix it on your own, and at what point you really need somebody like you to come in and do something about it.
This isn't a 5-minute question.
I'm sorry. Well, let's see if you can make it concise in like 5-10
my
minutes.
god.
Sorry. Well, this is another one of these things that you see all the time.
I see it all the time.
I feel like
Let
this
me
is
get
like
a formal
a weekly
definition.
thing with you.
Let me get a formal definition of
Zivi,
malware
this is not
for you.
safe. Hold on. Let me just grab something for Zivi. Zivi, work on this end.
Yeah, I want to just get a standard definition.
What?
Here we go. According to the dictionary, malware is software that's intended to damage or disable a computer and a computer system.
Now, how does it get on your computer?
That's a tough one. I mean, it's usually from just a download, typically.
From like a bad website or something?
From a bad website or a bad email.
How do you know, what are some signs like that something might have malware in it?
Okay, there you go. Now you're asking something I can actually do. So you type something into your browser,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you type something into the browser, normally, let's say for example, your browser typically goes to a search engine like Google,
Right.
right? But then you notice that the Google logo is missing.
Okay.
Or you notice that it kind of looks like Google, but it's just off color.
This is after the fact?
After the fact that
Okay.
the malware.
Right, but
So you have to know how the thing typically looks before the fact.
right. So you'll know you have malware if things are not looking right. But if you are like on the internet and you're like searching around or something and something has malware in it, what are some signs that it might have malware in it?
There's really no way that I can personally think of detecting that something has malware in it.
Okay, so now I want to know what is something you can do to like prevent malware from getting onto your system.
Okay. So this isn't an advertisement,
Right.
but there is a company out there called Malware Bytes.
Okay.
And I use it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And some people will actually pay a subscription to Malware Bytes,
Mm-hmm.
so that way, as they're browsing, it detects malware for them.
Okay. So let's say whether you have that on your device or you don't have it on your device, what do you do if you start to suspect something is fishy?
Don't go onto any of your bank accounts.
So you saying like once you think you have malware,
Yes.
so don't go on your bank accounts. Okay.
Yeah.
And what else?
Don't go into any of the accounts that you would be horrified if someone had your password.
Okay. So and don't do all of that, or else what would happen?
Just essentially, people are worried that somehow that information could get captured. But like usually, they don't like to capture passwords from an individual's computer.
Yeah.
The ones that really need to worry about their stuff being taken or manipulated are businesses.
Right.
Because if a business is attacked, and that's something that I wouldn't even know how to do because that's super complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Businesses, they want to download tons of passwords, as many passwords as possible. So they're not going after little old you. Instead, they're more so going after these businesses that have a vast amount of username and passwords and personal data.
Right. But in any case, it's still sketchy and it still is slowing down your machine, right?
Right.
So, and still you're still being like exposed somehow probably. So let's say you notice, that you think you have malware on your computer.
Yep.
Right? Now you're stuck with the malware on your computer. Maybe you didn't have this program in there to stop it. Oh, baby, oh no. Or something like that. Right? So you're stuck with this malware on your computer. What do you do now? Is there anything you can do to get it off?
Typically, you download Malwarebytes.
Okay.
And essentially with Malwarebytes, they usually identify something that's malware.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes you look at, if Malwarebytes can't find it, you look at the browser and the URL, the name that's at the top of the screen, if it's not going to google.com and instead is going something like websearch.ol.
You mean when you search for
Yes.
Google? Okay.
Yeah. No, when you just go and turn the browser on and you search for
Okay.
anything and it's redirecting to someplace else,
Right.
that you're like, I don't want it redirecting there.
Right.
You can then actually Google that name of whatever that website is, and usually you can find information on what you need to do to remove that particular malware from your device.
Okay.
And malware is very different than a virus, where a virus more so could crash your whole computer.
Right. And a malware just kind of slows it down. Like, I feel like when you get people with a lot of malware, it's like their devices get gummed up. Is that right?
The point of malware is so that they can use your computer for other nefarious things. For example, they could be using your computer to mine Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Or like, they don't necessarily care about you as an individual. They care about your computer hardware.
Right.
So that they can then use it for other things and combine your computer system with other computer systems. Or they just want to serve you advertisements, so that way when you're browsing, they get money because the answers that they're giving you are not necessarily websites that you're interested in, but more so a list of advertisements that you might be interested in, but when you click on it, they get the ad revenue from clicking.
So in any case, whichever way you do it, somebody is messing with you.
Right, exactly.
So my question is, at what point with all of this does somebody need help from somebody like you?
If they can't go to Malwarebytes and download it themselves,
like if it's just too complicated.
They just feel it's too complicated, or they're afraid that they're downloading even more malware or more viruses onto their device, then they would need someone like me to make sure that they're going to the right site.
Right.
Because sometimes like people are like scared that happened, or if Malwarebytes doesn't even work out, sometimes I might even have to dig down further and figure out exactly what is this that's attached to the browser.
That's where
and
I was
clear
wondering.
out the browser.
That's where I was wondering, because it's like, let's say somebody does do the Malwarebytes thing and it's still acting up. I guess that's the point where they would need help.
That's the point where it's like you would have to sit there, because if you're noticing that things are still not working even after Malwarebytes removes, there might be some other pieces that are lodged into the computer that needs to be figured out. I mean, the worst possible scenario is that the entire computer has to be rebooted.
Right.
Or even worse than that is that they do something to the system where it overclocks the system, in which case parts need to be replaced within the computer.
And that's why you don't want other people messing with your computer.
Right, because
so it seems like number one, it seems like it's hard to avoid malware in the first place. But number one, act preventatively and theoretically put something like Malwarebytes on, if you can.
I mean, there are other systems that are out there, but I found Malwarebytes does a really good job, especially with the Apple devices.
Right. So you want to
Sorry about the shaking.
That's okay. So you want to try to make sure you have something on there that, that works well to prevent malware.
Yeah.
Then after that, just keep an eye on your device.
Yeah.
And see how it's working.
Yeah.
Like if anything starts to look a little bit weird, look into it.
Yeah.
Right. Try to keep clearing out malware on your own if you can, and if it really gets crazy, that's where you might need somebody like you to prevent things from getting worse.
Right, exactly. Or figuring out exactly what system stuff was put on there that just seems a little bit weird. And sometimes you need someone like myself to just take one look, and so used to seeing certain things that I can figure it out a little bit faster than the average person who's only witnessing it maybe once or twice in their lifetime.
Right. Yeah, I feel like this is something you get all the time with clients.
All the time.
This is like one of your most common,
Well, the thing is, they go and they contact me and they're like, why is my email not working?
Right.
Or why is this not working?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Or why does my screen look pixelated?
Or you'll like, I feel like you find this too sometimes, like as you dig down with people.
Yes.
Like sometimes you'll be out for a while and I'm like, what's taking so long? And you're like, well, I fixed all these things and I found malware. And I'm like, oh man, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah,
It's
as
just
soon as you get the text that says the word malware,
Right.
you're
I'm
like,
like, oh, no.
it's like saying I have to go do surgery.
Right.
Like that's the equivalent of hearing that there's a malware case.
Right. So bottom line, we want to try to prevent malware in the first place so people don't need to go after somebody like you. But if they do need somebody like you, you are there.
Right, exactly.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure there's ways of preventative measures, but also the other thing, the more security and preventative measures you put on your device, the more that the computer slows down.
Right. So it's kind of like you want to like pick maybe one or two good ones or something, right?
One.
Yeah,
If
one.
you have two, then they're going to combat
Right.
against each other.
Right.
That's why I've just given up and just been like, okay, malware seems to be one
The
that...
malware bites. you mean?
Malware bites, yeah.
Interesting.
BYTES, not BITES.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Interesting.
computer humor.
Okay. I don't get this.
That's fine. There's bytes in a computer.
Okay. Yeah, well, I know that.
Right.
But isn't that spelled the same way as...
BYTES.
Right, they're spelled the same way, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, but they're
They're-
inferring malware bytes as in like the 80s
Yeah.
with like Bart Simpson and stuff. BITES.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bad
I-
joke. It's a bad joke.
All right. So if people need to reach you, if they have any questions about malware or anything else,
Yep, techie-to-the-rescue.com or 707-267-7778. 707-267-7778.
and if anybody has any tech questions for the day, you can put them in the comments.
Yep, definitely. And like, thank you for the comments, and make sure that you like and subscribe, of course, because that's how we're able to continue providing you with this resource.
Yay!
All right.
All right.
Yes,
Somebody's saying enjoy your day.
yep.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.